It is quite hard to believe that the Honor brand was only founded 5 years ago, and even harder to believe that compared to the new Honor View20, this is what last year's View10 looked like. The company has gathered some serious momentum pretty much out of nowhere, but that's what makes this phone so vital for them, as their flagship device moving into almost definitely the most competitive year in smartphone history. As well as the phone, in the box you get a SIM ejector tool, a silicon case, 22.5 watt supercharger, and a USB Type-C cable. Nothing too crazy here. But what is surprising about the View20 is that in an age of quad camera modules and gradient finishes, it still manages to feel new. Using a similar technology as the holographic sticker on your credit card, the back is like nothing I've ever seen before, and the more different light sources you try and reflect off the back of it, the crazier it looks. The fact that it's made of glass and aluminium gives it this kind of reassuring firmness. And there's a few different color options. For me, the Magic Night Black being the one to go for, but cameras don't really fully capture the holographic effect on that one. It's one of a falling number of flagship phones with a headphone jack, and I found the fingerprint scanner to be pretty much exactly where my finger would rest anyway, so that works out too. For me personally though, the most exciting thing about this device is the fact that it is the cheapest phone you can buy at £499 in the UK to have a 7nm chip. This gives it a certain efficiency advantage over pretty much any 2018 flagship, and combined with liquid cooling, 2 dedicated chips just for AI tasks, and GPU Turbo 2.0, which can stabilize frame rates when you're gaming, this is one capable phone. Its graphics performance won't beat the latest iPhones or Samsung's incoming devices, but at the same time it is punching above its weight. Oh yeah, and there's 2 options here, a 6GB of RAM and 128GB model, and an 8GB of RAM with 256. Also, the 4000 mAh battery proves substantial, especially when you factor in that it's running on Android 9, and it's only got a 1080p display to power. Speaking of which, on the front is a 6.4-inch display, and it's not my favourite part of the phone, but as far as LCDs go, it's respectable. It's also got no notch, and instead is one of the first to embody the punch hole camera. A few of the people I've showed it to have said it might as well be a notch, it's not like the space around it is being utilised effectively, and that's true to a certain extent. But having used it for a while now, I would say it definitely improves immersion. When you watch videos, it just feels like there's less interruption. It's easier to kind of forget it's there than a notch. And for a lot of games, because it's on the top left, your thumb ends up covering the cutout entirely. You can also disable it if you really don't like it, but it's kind of unoffensive in my opinion, with a supposedly smaller diameter than even Samsung's upcoming offerings. What did worry me a little though is the fact that there is only a single camera here. But you quickly realise that it is still a stark improvement from past Honor phones. This is a 48 megapixel sensor, so I took this shot out in Las Vegas, and you can just keep zooming in. In broad daylight, the clarity is nuts. Now, the problem with having a high resolution camera is you come to expect noisier photos, especially in low light. But AI night mode returns, and the results are clean, colourful and bright. You also still get portrait mode like its dual camera counterparts, as well as 960fps slow motion. And while the quality does have to be dialed down for slow-mo, the normal 4K video was a nice surprise. You miss out on optical image stabilization, but the image is really well exposed, colourful and sharp. 3D Qmojis make a return. And you'll find a lot of the AI features that we saw on the 8X last year. Stuff like AI shopping, where you can take a photo of an item and it brings up the product page so you can buy it online. You can also point it at food, and the device somehow calculates the amount of calories on your plate. Now, this AI does come into other areas too. It'll constantly monitor your Wi-Fi as well as your data speeds, and it'll switch between them seamlessly depending on which is faster at any one time. And it takes advantage of the dual GPS built into the phone, so unlike with many more conventional devices, it does seem to get where you are and which way you are facing pretty well. Alright, so that is the View20. In the UK it's going to be on O2 if you want a contract, or Carphone Warehouse SIM-free. All the links are in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.